The orbital platform known as Velora Station spun silently above the gas giant's swirling storms, its silver arcs gleaming in the faint light of the nearby sun. Ships of every shape and origin drifted in and out of its docking bays. Crystalline cruisers from the Elthi, heavy freighters run by grizzled Terran captains, and living bioships grown by the Serac. Velora was a crossroads, a place where empires met, traded, and sometimes clashed. Among its countless corridors and bustling markets, Daniel Reeve wandered with a mix of curiosity and caution. He was a human far from home, farther than most dared to travel. Earth lay hundreds of light-years away, and its influence barely stretched to the galactic interior where Velora hung like a jewel. Daniel had left his world years ago, first as a mechanic on merchant ships, then as a wanderer with no permanent ties. He carried little with him: a worn pack, a tattered jacket, and most curious of all, a silver ring on his left hand. Its surface shimmered faintly with etched patterns, almost like constellations trapped in metal. It drew the eye of anyone who noticed, though Daniel rarely spoke of it. That day, in the lower concourse where food stalls gave off mingled scents of alien spices and roasted meats, he sat on a bench and watched the crowd. Traders bartered loudly, children darted between legs, and automated drones hovered overhead to monitor disputes. Daniel took a sip of thick blue tea, savoring its warmth. He had no particular destination, just a quiet day in the storm of life. But then she appeared. She was unlike any of the younger aliens bustling around. Bent with age yet carrying herself with dignity, the elderly Elthi woman walked with a cane carved from crystal. Her skin was pale lavender, lined with years, and her large, multifaceted eyes shimmered with an intensity that belied her frail form. Her robes were simple, though embroidered with patterns that seemed to glow softly, as though alive. Daniel noticed her gaze fix on his hand, more precisely on the ring. Slowly she approached, each step deliberate, and stopped before him. Her voice, when she spoke, was low but resonant, the kind of voice that carried the weight of centuries. "Human," she said, tilting her head slightly. "Where did you get that ring?" Daniel blinked, caught off guard. He instinctively curled his fingers, hiding the band, but her eyes followed the motion. He considered lying, dismissing it as a trinket. But something in her tone made him pause. It wasn't idle curiosity. It was recognition. He hesitated, then answered softly. "It was given to me by someone I lost a long time ago." The woman inhaled sharply, her hands trembling around her cane. "Impossible," she whispered. "That ring, that symbol. It should not be here, not with you." Daniel frowned, his heart beating faster. "You know what it is." She lowered herself onto the bench beside him, her movements slow but deliberate. Her gaze never left the shimmering patterns. For a long moment she said nothing, as though struggling with memory. Finally she spoke. "That is not a human artifact. It belonged to my people thousands of years ago, before your kind ever walked among the stars. That ring was worn only by the guardians of the Accord, and every one of them was lost in the wars of silence." Daniel swallowed, unsure what to say. "Then maybe you're mistaken, because it didn't come from some ancient guardian. It came from..." His voice faltered. Memories he had buried began to resurface, painful, vivid. The woman leaned closer, her expression urgent. "From where? From whom?" Daniel took a deep breath. "From a woman named Lyra. Not Elthi, not human, someone different. She saved me when I shouldn't have lived. This ring was hers. She put it on my finger before she..." He looked down. "Before she vanished." The elderly alien stiffened. Her pupils widened, and her cane clattered softly against the floor. "Lyra," she whispered. "No, it cannot be. The beginning of memory." Daniel hadn't spoken of that name in years. The story came back to him now in fragments. He'd been barely 20 when his ship crashed on a barren world. A rock with no atmosphere worth breathing, no cities, no help. He had stumbled through its deserts until the air recyclers in his suit nearly failed. That was when Lyra found him. She wasn't human. Her form shimmered with an unearthly beauty. Tall, luminous skin faintly glowing, eyes like nebulae. She had carried him to shelter, spoken in a language he shouldn't have understood yet somehow did. She nursed him until he could walk again. And during those strange, quiet days, they spoke of everything. She asked about Earth, about humanity's hopes and struggles. In return, she told him of old wars, of pacts broken, of guardians who once kept peace among stars but were betrayed. When he finally left that world, rescued by a passing freighter, she had pressed the ring into his hand. "One day," she had whispered, "this will speak for you if you are brave enough to carry it." Then, without warning, she vanished in a swirl of light. He never saw her again. The revelation. Now, on Velora Station, this alien elder sat trembling beside him. Her multifaceted eyes glistened with tears that refused to fall. "You cannot know," she said hoarsely. "You cannot understand what that name means. Lyra was. She was my daughter." Daniel froze. The words struck like thunder. He looked at her, at the lines of age carved deep into her lavender skin, and for the first time he saw the resemblance. The same glow around the eyes, the same dignity in the way she held herself despite frailty. She saved me," Daniel said, his throat tight. "She gave me this ring." The woman covered her mouth, her shoulders shaking. "For centuries, I thought her gone forever, lost to the silence. And now, across the span of stars, I find a human wearing her bond ring." Daniel felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "If I had known, if I could have brought her back to you." "No," the elder interrupted, her voice steadying. "You misunderstand. The guardians swore their rings would never pass to another unless their bearer's mission remained unfinished. If she gave it to you, then she believed you were meant to carry on what she could not.